What is written on the tray?
On the tray. Okay, so shall we read it out?
Yeah, what does it mean, though, too?
To Philip and Lily Stain, esteem and appreciation, with esteem and appreciation, from the Durban Jewish Welfare Association, the 26th of June, 1956.
So what does that mean?
What does it mean? Well, it's given to Philip and Lily Stain, who were your great-grandparents on the Stain side.
But who were the people who gave it to them?
It's the association, the members of the association, which worked in Durban, South Africa, where they were living at the time and had lived there for 50 years, I think. No, 1956, they'd lived there for 30 years, 35 years. And this welfare, the Jewish Welfare Association, were people who worked together to look after the welfare, that is to make sure that the Jewish people in Durban didn't have, let's say, financial and social problems. Now, what is this? Do you record this, or how does this work? Is it recording?
Well, actually, it's a video. Let me show you a second.
One of the big things that my mother was involved with was helping the German refugees. These were Jewish people who had lived in Germany and had to escape from Germany because the Nazis, with all their anti-Semitism, had come to power. So this started in about 1933 and went on right till 1939, when the war with Germany started, so they couldn't escape anymore. And these people came by boat from Germany and landed at the port in Durban, and my mother would go down to the port to meet the ships. And as the people came off the ships, my mother would introduce herself and tell them that the association, this welfare association, would help them to find places to live and places to work. And she did this very, very conscientiously, with much effort and enthusiasm. And quite a number of these people came to stay in our own house in Durban, while my mother and others were looking for more permanent housing for them. And I remember them very well. There were families like the Ronsheims and the Eichelgrüns and the Nussbaums. Those are all German Jewish names. And some of them remained good friends with my parents and even with us for many, many years afterwards. Let's take the case of Theo Ronsheim. He was a lawyer in Germany and had to leave Germany because of the Nazis and came to South Africa, to Durban. And my father, influenced by my mother, tried to get him a job and eventually found him a job as the organizing secretary of an organization called the Friends of the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in South Africa. This was a group of people in South Africa who collected money for the Hebrew University, to send money to Jerusalem to support the buildings and the students and the teachers of the Hebrew University. And Theo Ronsheim did this job for many, many years. His wife, Nan Ronsheim, was a painter, and they had two small children, a pair of twins. And these two, my sister Zina, looked after when my mother had died, and also Nan Ronsheim, their mother, had died. And for many, many years, Zina you might say, inherited these Ronsheim boys from my mother and their mother. And that's a long period of time, and the effects of this went on and on. Another important person whose job was found was a man called Herbert Koblenz. That's another German Jewish name. My father found him a job at the Natal University as librarian. Koblenz had been, I don't quite remember what he had been, but he was a very good librarian, and eventually he became the chief librarian of the World Health Organization in Geneva. So that was a very good finding by my mother, helped by my father. Here is another case, a man called Meidner, Hans Meidner, who came. He was a scientist, and my mother said, "Oh, you're a scientist. I know a person who runs a pharmacy. You can help this person work in the pharmacy." And Hans Meidner helped in the pharmacy for quite a few years until afterwards, since he was really a very well-known scientist, he found himself a job as a botanist, and after the war went to England, where he became a professor of botany at a university in England. So all these people, my mother had helped find houses and jobs, and helped them establish themselves in South Africa after the Nazis had expelled them.